Hello everyone, this is Austin from Mini Painter Studio here with another painting tutorial. So in my last video I had a request for Seraphon. I've never painted them before, so I was excited to give it a try. So you'll see here he is undercoated with Corax White, and I'm doing a solid base coat of Corn Red. So one of the guys from the local gaming group, Basement War Gamers, he let me use one of his spare Saurus Warriors for this painting tutorial, so thank you very much to him. His paint scheme for his guys was kind of like a pinkish red. Not the biggest fan of pink, especially on dinosaurs, so I wanted to go with kind of a deeper color. So now you'll see me painting his shield with a Cantor blue, because I found in most of the reference pictures that I was seeing, it's kind of just a contrast color on the shields. So I did a big no-no here and I painted right on the plastic, but I've been doing that for a long time. You don't want to. If you can, definitely undercoat, but it works in a pinch. So for the secondary color on his non-scaled flesh, I wanted to do something that's not just a lighter red, because I was going to highlight the corn red with a lighter red. So I decided that Bugman's Glow is kind of a good offset to this corn red. It has kind of a pinkish hue to it, but it's not overly pink. It's not garish or anything like that. And it doesn't have a overtly red tone, but it fits well with the corn red. So you're just going to want to hit all the areas that don't have that kind of rough, scaly texture to it. So you'll see on his biceps, his face. You'll see me hit his underside of his belly a little bit too. But yeah, I really like the way this Bugman's Glow came out. I wasn't sure how, since it is my first time painting a Seraphon model, I wasn't sure how it was going to come out, but by the end I was very pleased with the result. You'll see it's a little difficult to get into that underside area, but just take your time with it. It doesn't take that long. And yeah, you'll see he's looking pretty cool already. So I'm going to come in with some Carroburg Crimson. But Carroburg Crimson is a very strong wash, so I'm going to thin it out with some Lamian Medium. I did a 1-to-1 mixture because I just wanted the recesses to get dark, but I really didn't want it to tint the raised surfaces very much or at all. So when you want something like that, go ahead and thin it out with some Lamian Medium. It works with all of the GW Citadel washes. And this is a great part of like a little model like this is it's simple, it's fast. So you'll see me just coming in pretty strong with the Carroburg Crimson and Lamian Medium mixture. But yeah, like I said, it's a very quick paint job. So you could get 10 to 20 of these guys done in a weekend or something like that if you're really pounding through it. But you'll see it really brought those colors nicely together and also got the recesses going good too. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to dry brush the scaly parts with Evil Sun Scarlet. And Corn Red kind of has almost like a pinkish tone to it. And by highlighting with a bright red, it kind of just brings it together, brings it back to that red area. Just be careful not to get it on the Bugman's Glow parts, but you'll see it's already bringing out the scales really well. And that's something that's cool about these models is all that detail can be intimidating, but it's a fun kind of detail because it's easily painted with like washes and dry brushes. So now I'm just going to come in and hit that shield, the Cantor blue, hit that with a Hoeth blue, which is just like a much lighter blue. So again, just dry brush it. It's easy. Like I said, since this is like a basic infantry kind of model, I wanted to give you guys your bang for your buck, so I'm also going to go over how I'm basing this guy too. But yeah, I'm coming in here. Now it's time to do the eye, because as you've seen from my other videos, right when you're going to highlight the color of the face, before you do that, you want to focus on the detail like the eye, because you can always fix up with that base color again. So basically I just want to get into that eye socket area with some Abaddon Black. I decided, since the scales were red and the shield was blue, the obvious choice for a spot highlight would be yellow, because those are the three primary colors, if you guys didn't know. But yeah, so throwing an aerial yellow there. And I wanted to make sure I had that black line down because yellow can sometimes get lost. So I just wanted to make sure it stayed out. But in the time it took me to push the record button, the yellow dried on my brush, so I had to get my brush wet again, get some more area yellow on there. And you'll see you just do a little bit thinner of a line than you did with the black, and you get a really nice pop, really nice result. He's looking like a scary dino now. So yeah, just take your time with this. This is what's really going to give a lot of character to your model. So I really wanted to make sure that that yellow was bright, so I went over a couple times with it. And the black outline just really helps with that. See, I just keep on following that line, and it gives me a nice bright eye. So now I'm going to highlight the Bugman's glow areas with some Cadian flesh tone, and you don't have to do a lot of this. It's just a few raised areas. It's the nostrils there. It's the eyelid underneath. I always like to do the eyelid because it helps make the eye pop out a little bit. You can see his bicep area, his underside. You can do a couple highlights there, and then his knuckles and stuff like that. But I did something that I actually forgot to film, and that was on his lips. I did kind of just like a vertical strokes pattern, because you can kind of see in the sculpt there's like a lot of hashes along the lips, and it just gives it a little bit more visual interest. And then definitely on his feet too, he has a lot of like little ridges. So just hit those with the line of the Cadian flesh tone and you'll be good to go. So yeah, this guy's really coming together nicely. I'm just going to go in with the Ushabti bone, get his claws and teeth. And this is something I learned back from my first miniatures I ever painted, which was orcs. The minis look cool, but then when you go in there and paint their claws and teeth, they really start to stand out. And you don't have to go crazy, especially because this is like just a base infantry model. You know, you could do Xandri Dust, do a wash, do a highlight of Ushabti Bone, throw in another highlight of Screaming Skull for like that extra showcase quality kind of thing. But for this kind of level, just one level of Ushabti Bone is fine. And then for his tongue, it was sticking out, so I wanted it to be kind of like an off color, but nothing too crazy. So I threw in Gene Sealer Purple. Not sure how it was going to come out, but you'll see it actually adds a nice little pop of color. Breaks up the red a little bit. But yeah, I actually liked the way it came out. I'm going to keep that in mind for the future. But yeah, after this, I mean, other than highlighting or getting his gold parts and his weapon, I mean, that model's pretty much done. So that's why I wanted to show you guys how I did the base as well. So again, I wanted to keep it simple with his weapons. I want you guys to be able to bang out like units of these guys so that they're tabletop ready. So I just hit up everything really with the Abaddon Black. Just go crazy over all of it. And I don't normally base coat with Corax White. The mini was already base coated with that, but just keep in mind that you really want to get a good coverage when you're doing that. So I threw on the shield because I wanted to get some recess shading done there, some Dragonhof Nightshade. I ended up throwing way too much on it. I had to wick some of it away at the end, but it's all right. It ended up looking really cool. But again, Dragonhof Nightshade is a very powerful color. So just keep that in mind. I could have thinned this down with some Lamine medium as well, but the end result was just fine. I like the way it looked. But yeah, that's what's cool about all the scale details. It's intimidating, but it's actually really simple with washes and dry brushing. So yeah, you'll see here, I just need to throw in some Retributor armor on his gold parts. Basically, it says bracelets. There's a couple parts on the weapon that need to be done. And then on some of the Saurus Warrior models, you'll see their back spikes are capped with some sort of metal. So I just threw some gold on there as well. And this is just like another thing. It's like, this is mostly just skin and carapace. So throwing in a little variation like little gold accents is always a good thing to do. It just makes the model seem more complete. See, I'm just hitting up his bracelets right there. And I really like kind of the theme of the Seraphon. They're almost like Mayan dinosaurs. But you'll see. All right, so this is how I do my bases. I usually paint my minis on the base just so I have something to hold on to. And then I clip them off. Sometimes I pin them, sometimes I don't. So just be very careful when you're doing this. You don't want to mess up your paint job at all. I got that first foot. And then the second one, I just hold on to the mini because it might go flying. and then you pop off that second one. And now you have an easy base. You don't have to worry about going around his feet. This is a great product, Vallejo Ground Texture. I recommend this to anybody. It's fantastic. It basically takes a lot of the work out of doing bases. So you just take a glob of it, and then it's like you're icing a cake. You just spread it around to the edges. I kind of put a little bit too much on there, which I figured out, but that's no problem. You just scoop some of it away, put it back in the pot. See me do that right there. Scoop that away. Drop the base. But yeah, so this is what you want to do. You want to make sure that you get the ground texture all the way to the edges. And then what you do is you kind of tap the top with your whatever kind of tool you're using, and it raises up some of it. Now, if it goes up too high, that's no problem. Just smooth it down a little bit, but keep in mind that when it dries, it kind of settles down as well. So see here, it looks kind of funky, but you'll see once I cover it with some paint, it has the result that we want. And that is like an uneven ground surface without all the work of doing like PVA glue and sand and all those types of things. And since it's like it's its own adhesive, it sticks really, really well to the top of the base. You'll see just once you have that Mornfrank brown on there, it looks really good. But just all brown can be a little bit boring. So you come in with the highlight and you just do different like splotches on the top of it, kind of like muddy puddles type of thing. But just randomly go in there. It's really simple. Just throw some random splotches there, and it just gives it a little bit of variance, and it's more interesting to look at. So you see I'm just doing random splotches right there. And yeah, so now those are dry, and now you come in with the Mornfang brown. And so this gives you your 3 layers, which makes it visually interesting. You have, it's actually 4 once I do the dry brush, but you have your deep recessed shade with the Mornfang brown, and then you have the base of the, Agrax Earth shade. Then you have the base of the Mornfang brown, and then you have a little bit of like a orangey interest with the Scrag brown, and then you come in with the dry brush, and that brings it all together. So I'm doing an Ushab debone because you don't want to go too bright, and it's kind of dirt, so you don't want to go with a gray or a white. So this kind of beige color really does nicely, and since the mini is not on top of it, you can just go crazy with it, which is why I like taking the mini off of the base when I'm doing that. So you'll see all that raised surface that the Vallejo ground texture gave us. It's just really easy to dry brush, and it looks really nice. So now you just glue that back on, and all I had to do left was to bring the gold down a little bit. So again, using that Agrax Earth shade, give it a little bit of deep tone to it, and this mini is done. Nice, quick, easy paint job. Don't be afraid to try some of the techniques I used in this one, guys. I've really appreciated requests of what you guys want to see painted next. So please keep on leaving comments. I'm going to try and get to it if I can. But yeah, that's how I decide what I'm going to paint. So thanks again, guys. This is Austin from Mini Painter Studio. Hope to see you again next time. Enjoy.